In 1941, Europe exhales smoke and swallows iron. Trains run all night. Orders are signed behind closed doors. And one name stands on every poster: Hitler. But what if, one day, the sky reveals a black shadow that does not belong to this era, silent as a curse, carrying only a single bullet and two targets? Would you choose to shoot the man or shoot the machine? If you want to know how that trigger squeeze bends history, subscribe to the channel right now. At that time, war is no longer news. It is the breath of the streets. The air raid siren drags on and then cuts off, leaving a silence heavy as lead. In sealed rooms, stamps slam down onto paperwork, order after order, cold as a machine. Berlin is not only a city. It is the control room of the whole apparatus, where telephones, secret police, and secret meetings weave into a spiderweb. In the center of that web is Hitler, a symbol, a voice standing at a microphone. But the symbol is only the surface. Behind it is a system that can run itself, that can replace the one at the helm when it must. So the question is not only can you kill him, but pull out this pin. Does the map fall? Or is it simply pinned again by another nail? While that question still hangs, high on the cloud deck, a thin black speck, narrow as an ink mark, suddenly appears. No sound, no flag, only like an eye open wide to stare down at history. At exactly 6 o'clock, that speck steadies above the cloud deck, at an altitude where 1941 air defense is almost nothing but helplessness. No roar, no smoke trail. A cold machine body glides on, like a new eye grown into the sky. It sees through long-range cameras and thermal imagery, turning the ground into a living map. Rooftops glowing with trapped warmth, vehicles dragging short hot streaks along the roads, sentries as red dots standing still. But that eye is not divine. Its fuel is an hourglass. No refueling, no safe place to land, and every careless minute is a minute you never get back. It also has none of the clean coordinates of the modern age. No GPS to cling to, no air traffic control to ask for direction. Only inertial navigation and scraps of old maps, misaligned by every wartime border. Beneath its belly is the only thing allowed to change history. One Hellfire missile. One launch, that is all. Fire at the wrong human shadow, and a single round becomes silence, and the sky swallows the last chance. So the order is written brutally short. Find and take down the ultimate target. At 6:10, the first sweep returns an abnormal beat, a thick ring of heat around a concealed area, vehicles moving in and out on a strict cycle, guards layered in multiple rings like a cocoon. The eye in the sky zooms deeper, reading each distance, each pause, each shift change, as if reading a story with no words. Then just when everything seems clear, the cold data throws the most unpleasant fact. Too many targets that resemble the target are moving at the same time. The hunt has begun. Thanks for watching, and stay tuned for the next part. The time is 6:30. Below me, the world sharpens into two choices, two doors in a dark corridor. The first door is Target A, the man. His appearances are brief, always wrapped in layers of protection. Escort cars carve a path, then seal it shut behind him. Guards stand shoulder to shoulder, forming an invisible funnel. At its center, a human figure is held at a precise distance, as if the entire procession is carrying a symbol, not a person. But the data whispers a terrifying warning. This funnel could be protecting anyone, even a decoy trained to look identical. The second door is Target B, the machine, a closed meeting of the high command. Communications are surging, vehicles are pouring in, and the building's thermal signature glows like a newly lit furnace. Target B has no face to identify, but it has the certainty of a critical gathering point. I sweep over it, stacking thermal layers, measuring the rings of guards, my probability calculations jumping up and down like a nervous heartbeat. Target A can appear and vanish in an instant. Target B only exists within a tight time slot. Once the meeting ends, the motorcade will scatter, and the target will shatter into 1,000 untraceable pieces. I hang in the air between these two doors, with just one missile. One shot, fire at A, and I might cut off the head of the snake. But if it's a double, that single shot will slam the door on ever reaching the real leader. Fire at B, and I could break the chain of command, but the symbol, the figurehead, remains. The war machine can always replace a broken gear and keep turning. There is no clean option. Every choice has a price, and the biggest price is knowing the other door will lock forever. Time is draining away. The clock in my belly taps at my temples. Choose. History waits for no one. At 6:50, I tilt towards target A, as if pulled by the weight of a name. I'm not hunting a face. I'm hunting a ritual. From this cold altitude, I read the patterns, the way the motorcade stops. And inches forward, the exact distance the bodyguards maintain, the moments when they turn their heads in perfect unison. A security corridor forms out of pure motion. Then, a figure steps out for just a few seconds, the kind of fleeting moment of exposure that history loves to hide. But it's too perfect. The figure appears on time with suspicious precision, standing in a prearranged open space. The escort funnel is too clean, too symmetrical, like a diagram drawn in advance. Then, a small detail. The rhythm of movement is slightly off. One bodyguard shifts his position a fraction of a second too early. Another turns his head a moment too late. It feels like a performance. This could be him. Or it could be a shadow, perfectly placed to draw my single shot. I hesitate, not from fear of firing, but from understanding the consequence of being wrong. One launch, one door slammed shut forever. At 7:05, I leave the perfect funnel of target A and slide towards target B. Here, there are no human figures to doubt, only the signs of a system pulling itself tight. Car after car enters a side gate. Guards spread into layered rings. Radio traffic thickens like a downpour. The building swells with heat, a furnace with its doors shut. The smell of decisions being made. If my missile falls here, it won't just tear open a room. It will rip a segment out of the enemy's command structure. Signatures will be missed, orders will drift, and a campaign weeks in the making could lose its rhythm in minutes of chaos. But the machine knows how to repair itself. And once it does, it will clamp down harder, tighter than before. It's 7:10. The window for target B is closing. Soon, the meeting will break, and the target will dissolve. Meanwhile, target A still hangs in my view like a thorn. Abandoning it means accepting that the leader will vanish into thicker protection, surrounded by more doubles. A second chance might never come. I am caught between two lines of reasoning, feeling my fuel drop, tick by tick. One round, two targets. And on my screen, history is tightening into a single fragile thread. The clock ticks to 7:18. Suddenly, everything on the ground changes. Around target B, a side gate slams shut. A guard post is moved. In the thermal view, red dots swarm like a stirred-up anthill. Over at target A, the defenses tighten too. Curtains are drawn, trucks block the view, and human shields fill the empty spaces, their bodies forming a wall. The drone doesn't know if they've spotted it, or if it's just paranoia. All it sees is the net pulling tighter. Decoy motorcades speed off in different directions, trying to confuse the eye. A few figures are rushed through a corridor, then vanish just as the camera locks on. 4 minutes later, target A reappears, just for a moment. The escort formation shifts, like a well-rehearsed play. At the same time, at target B, the heat signature inside the building drops. Doors open, vehicles start their engines. It's clear the meeting is about to end, the gathering about to scatter. On the screen, both targets blur. A becomes harder to confirm. B becomes harder to hold. The algorithm calculates and recalculates probability, while the fuel gauge silently drops toward the red line. And in that silent air, the drone understands a ruthless truth. In war, delay is a decision. 7:28. Two images, side by side, like two blades. On the left, target A. A figure steps out of a doorway, their heat signature flaring brightly, then instantly swallowed by the escort. On the right, target B. Doors open constantly. Vehicles are running. The main room still blazes with heat, proving the meeting hasn't fully broken up yet. The drone adjusts its angle, stacking layers of data. Probability of a hit, immediate consequences, future opportunities. The fuel drops. The window for B is closing. A is still a question mark. There are no second chances. Wait too long, and the opportunity dies. Move too fast, and you hit a shadow. Firing at A might take out the symbol, or it might just tear a mask, sending the real target deeper into hiding for months. Firing at B means hitting a confirmed gathering of the system's core, right before it scatters. 7:29. The drone chooses B. It locks the impact point on the building's edge, where people and vehicles are clustered together. 20 seconds later, the Hellfire missile leaves the rail. No scream, just a cold, silent answer streaking toward its destination. 7:30. Impact. A brief flash, then the ground swells with thick smoke. Thermal imagery flares red. Human dots scatter in panic. In that exact same second, on the other screen, target A vanishes behind a closed door, as if history itself pulled back from the blade's edge, leaving a question unanswered. News of the strike spreads not like lightning, but like an oil spill. Communication lines go haywire. Orders are given, and then cut off mid-sentence. Panic spreads faster than the smoke. Target A learns of the attack by the sudden silence that surrounds him. His security doubles down. More decoys appear, wrapping the truth in another layer. High above, the drone sees it all but cannot stay. Fuel hits the critical threshold. It turns for home, leaving behind a wound that is already being stitched closed by discipline and fear. Did pulling that trigger change history? Yes, because it made the machine bleed. And no, because war doesn't die in a single blow. It just changes its rhythm. Now, I have to ask you, if you were the one making the call, would you shoot A or B? Let me know in the comments, and follow for the next part of the story.